Hello and welcome to the Luv Doc podcast with hosts Waldo Wachewski and Ophelia Brewski.
Today we're diving into something a little different, something a little spicier, and it's from the Luv Doc.
The Luv Doc.
And it's about a relationship that's great everywhere except the bedroom. So we're going to unpack this.
Okay.
What's your first impression of this Luv Doc character?
They're definitely not your average advice columnist.
Yeah.
You know, the tone is playful.
Yeah.
It's irreverent. It's almost like they're, whispering secrets over cocktails instead of giving serious advice.
Yeah. It's very casual.
Yeah, it's a refreshing change of pace.
Yeah, it's giving tell it like it is best friend vibes.
Yes.
But in this particular column, the humor tackles a topic a lot of people struggle with.
Right. Yeah.
When one person's needs in the bedroom aren't being met.
Exactly. And this isn't just about kinky gadgets or spicing things up.
Right.
It gets to the heart of intimacy and desire and how we communicate our needs, even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the Luv Doc calls our writer dry hole.
Yeah.
Which,
ouch.
But it does highlight how deflating the situation can be for people.
Yeah, that pseudonym definitely made me chuckle, even though the underlying issue is far from funny.
Right.
This can really rock the foundation of a relationship.
Absolutely.
Where do you even begin to address something so personal and potentially sensitive?
Well, and that's where the Luv Doc's advice, I think, gets interesting, because they blend those laugh-out-loud moments with some surprisingly insightful observations
Okay.
about communication and desire.
Yeah.
For instance, they talk about the difference between simply talking about sex and truly understanding your partner's desires.
Right.
Which requires vulnerability and a willingness to listen without judgment.
That's such a good point. It's so easy to get stuck in your own head about what you think you should want or what you think your partner should be into.
Right.
But the Luv Doc seems to be pushing dry hole and all of us really to be more honest about our own needs and more accepting of our partners, even if they're not a perfect match.
Yeah.
What did you make of their actual suggestions?
Well, they run the gamut from practical advice, actually tell your partner what you want, to the more unconventional.
Oh, you mean like the Kentucky Sexual Summer Camp?
Exactly.
I nearly choked on my coffee when I read that.
Exactly. But even in those outrageous suggestions, there's a kernel of truth.
Right.
The Luv Doc is highlighting that sometimes you need to be bold and even a little playful to break through those communication barriers.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like they're giving us permission to not take it all so seriously, right?
Right.
Which is often when the best breakthroughs happen, at least in my experience.
Yeah.
But what about the other side of the coin? Like, what if you've tried the open communication? You've tried the playful suggestions.
Yeah.
And you're still hitting a wall.
Yeah. That's where things get really interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Because the Luv Doc doesn't shy away from the possibility that sometimes, despite our best efforts, we're simply not sexually compatible with someone. And as much as we might want to believe we can change our partners or that love conquers all,
right,
sometimes accepting those differences means acknowledging that we might be happier with someone else.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely a harder truth to swallow, for sure. It's so easy to get caught up in that, but everything else is great draft,
And I think that's where the Luv Doc's humor plays a crucial role.
Yeah.
Because it allows them to deliver these tough love truths with a lightness and compassion that wouldn't land the same way in a more serious advice column.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, sometimes you just got to walk away from a drywall, even if it's in a beautiful garden. I don't know if I butchered that metaphor, but
no, I think
that's the point.
I do. I think it's a brilliant way to frame it, because often we stay in relationships that are good enough on paper.
Right.
Even when they're leaving us feeling emotionally, or in this case, sexually unfulfilled.
It makes you wonder how many people out there are relating to dry hole right now, quietly longing for something more in the bedroom, but unsure how to bridge that gap.
And that's why I think this Luv Doc column is so important. Even with its unconventional approach, it sparks a conversation about a topic that often gets swept under the rug.
Right.
It normalizes those feelings of longing and encourages us to advocate for our needs, even if it means having some uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
Or making some difficult choices.
Because at the end of the day, isn't that what true intimacy is all about? Being honest with ourselves and our partners about what we desire, both in and out of the bedroom. It really is. It's about recognizing that our needs are valid, even if they're not perfectly aligned with our partners.
Right.
And it's about having the courage to speak up and create a space where both people feel seen, heard.
Yes.
And yes, even a little bit sexually satisfied.
Well said. This whole conversation reminds me of something called the erotic blueprint.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, it's the idea that we each have a unique set of triggers and turn-ons that are shaped by our personality, by our experiences, even our childhood.
Interesting. So you're saying that a mismatch in the bedroom might be less about a lack of love or attraction and more about two different erotic blueprints trying to find a rhythm.
Precisely. And understanding your own blueprint and encouraging your partner to explore theirs can be incredibly powerful.
Okay.
In creating a more fulfilling sex life.
Yeah.
It's not about changing who you are.
Yeah.
But rather finding ways to bridge those gaps and meet each other's needs in a way that feels authentic and exciting for both people.
This has been incredibly eye-opening. The Luv Doc definitely gave us a lot to think about.
Yeah.
From communication styles to those Kentucky summer camp fantasies.
Right.
But I think the biggest takeaway for me is the importance of self-awareness in relationships.
Yes.
Knowing what you need to feel loved, respected, and yes, even sexually satisfied is crucial to building a strong and fulfilling connection. Any final thoughts for our listener as they navigate the wild world of love and intimacy?
I think the Luv Doc reminds us that relationships should be a source of joy.
Yeah.
Not just on paper, but in every aspect of our lives.
Right.
Don't be afraid to ask for what you need, even if it feels a little awkward or uncomfortable at first.
Yeah.
That vulnerability can be the key to unlocking a deeper level of intimacy and connection with your partner.
I love that.
And remember, sometimes the most unconventional advice can lead to the most profound breakthroughs.
Words to live by, listener. We hope this deep dive has given you plenty to ponder. Remember to subscribe and join us next time for another fascinating exploration into the human experience. Until then, happy diving.
To read the column that spawned this podcast, go to austinchronicle.com/columns/the Luv Doc. There are probably worse things to do with your time, right?